Hello everyone, and welcome to the final round of what is to be the final, I just said that, the final round of SOR here in F1 2019, the last race of F1 2019 here at Abu Dhabi. It's a solid race, I'm not gonna deny. It's a really good race. I enjoy it. It's a fun race, indeed. It's a fun little race. I say little, but it's one of the longest tracks on the map. Actually, that's a lie. It's not really the longest track, but it definitely feels long in a race. That's for sure. So the first man to set a lap is this man, Fox, and it looks like Ruthful, since his victory has decided, right, I won. Now I'm gonna give another opportunity to someone else, you know. I don't know. Last race, the winner was Luke. He's not here today. Or not Luke, sorry, Luca. He's not here today. So, Yasin did look very lively last race. Came in P2 by a second. And I honestly thought he was going to win. It turns out he did not, due to him serving a penalty that I wasn't aware of. So, or not that he served it, it's I just did miscalculations. Right, so we'll go on board here with Fox starting a lap. The Haas driver is actually really closely behind him, but we'll have to see if that affects his run or not. Here, you want to break in between the 100-meter board and the 50-meter board, using as much of the curb as possible. Don't go out too wide, because that will invalidate your lap, and it already did. So we'll go on board with R3 and continue there. Here, stay off the curb, but here you want to ride the curb as much as possible. He doesn't do that, so it will cost him a 10th. Then here, just as the curve starts, you want to brake, put it into third gear, second gear there, just to get that TRL, limitless extra rotation. Then here, drop it down to first gear for more extra rotation, but he does not decide to get that extra rotation, puts his foot down for more traction, and up into 8th gear at the end of the straight. You want to be braking just before the 100-meter board here, going into second gear here, and then quickly up to third, mounting the curb, and don't go out too wide, because that will cost you a heap of time. DRS open now for this second long DRS straight. Not really that long, but here you want to break in between the 100-meter board and well, you want to break at the 100-meter board. Actually, used a lot of curb there. He used a little too much there. Wondering if that's not validated, but he hasn't, and he's going to keep going. So here, very tight through the Mickey Mouse section, as a lot of people call it. Here, once it straightens out, that's your braking point. And going down the gears, you don't want to lock up, but you do want to use as much of the curb as possible, which he does. Here, just as the bridge at the top goes by, that's your turning in point, going in straight ahead. I believe Fox will actually be in the way for this lap. It goes out wide, that might invalidate this and next lap. Here, as the white line starts, you want to brake, going through the final corner now to set a time of 1:34.9. Pretty solid lap. Someone might beat it really quickly, as Mad Shot, the other Racing Point driver on the hards, across the line, sets a 1:38.2 on those hards, and Yasin quickly pumps in the fastest time of the session with a 1:34.7. Great lap by him. 1:34.7 is definitely a good time. You want to be aiming for a late 1:34, early 1:34. R10 puts it into P5, but Almighty actually with an almighty lap with a 1:34.6, 3/10 clear of P2 practically, and Vessel with a 1:34.8. So going down the field, who's the next? I believe it's a Renault. I believe it's Pixel, who hasn't validated his lap. Goes across the line. We'll start a new one. So we'll ride on board with him for this lap. He goes out wide there. Don't know if that he is in none. That cost him the futuristic exploring a bit of track limits there, I should say. Gets out the way for, I believe, Max, who is on the lap. Let's see, what's the sector time here? You want to be aiming for an early 57. This is a late 57, not purple. But we used a bit of curb there, slow down to not get it invalidated, and we'll continue. Going through Sector 3 now. It's very demanding, Sector 3. Here, well, if you're running no assists, obviously it's difficult because you will lock up, and you have a high chance of losing the rear, locking up the rears and going out wide. But for ABS runners, that is not an issue at all. Going through here, normally the 50-meter board would be there to guide you for your braking point, but now just as you start mounting the curb, that's your braking point, and he comes across the line, puts it in provisional P6 with a 135.8. That is a second clear of the top 3. He'll definitely need to improve on that if he wants a shot at winning this race, or in contention for top 3. Futuristic on a lap, I believe. He's on medium ERS. So since we last talked, or since I last was here, ooh, he goes out wide there. Very awkward position to go wide, but I believe he's not on lap because he's staying on medium. Yeah, since last time in Brazil, there was Hanoi, the street circuit, the 3rd street circuit, I believe, or 4th street circuit in Formula 1 calendar. So we'll have 4 street circuits, Monaco being one of them, or actually it'll be Hanoi first in Vietnam, then Monaco, then Singapore, then Russia. I believe Russia's a street circuit. Well, it's a semi-street circuit, but Singapore is definitely a street circuit. Russia is like, I guess, a half street circuit, so we won't count that, but for the sake of this argument, we'll say 4. So yeah, Hanoi definitely not looking like the most interesting ones. Like, there's definitely not a lot to it. Like, on the ground, it's basically just like a straight circuit. It's basically just roads going, straight, and then tight bends, and then straight again, and then some more tight bends and S's, and it's a bit of everything, really. It is inspired by some tracks. I do know Monaco, Japan is definitely a circuit that is inspired Hanoi. I know Monaco as well at the turn 1, or not turn 1. There's like a regular uphill that goes left and right, quick left right. As Le Mans actually sits a purple second sector, so he seems to be on a flying lap right now. Oh, he's cut a little too much there, and that's invalidated his lap. Leonardo Gambers is actually on a lap just behind Le Mans, so we're not missing much. But yeah, F1 2020 seems to be a very fun game. Definitely with ERS, much easier, and you can focus more on your driving and really just change on your fuel. So that's going to lead to some quicker races, and also quicker races in general, because the cars are faster, cars are more planted. They feel more like F1 cars rather than understeer McGee. So the United Gamer coming across the line now seems to be a reasonably good lap, puts him in provisional P6 with a 135.5. That's just over a second clear from P1. So P1 Almighty seems to be very quick at this track, surprisingly quick. We don't really see Almighty too much at the front of the pack, but that will change today. I think if you win in Abu Dhabi, it's a great way to close off the season, or finish on the podium, honestly. Great way to sign off F1 2019. So I believe Dr. Uther's on the lap. Yeah, he is. So the Mercedes sounds in F1 2020 are shocking. I should probably mention that if anyone wants to be in the Mercedes car for F1 2020. It doesn't sound the best, so that's why I've hooked my eyes on Red Bull. Sounds like a beast, looks like a beast, hopefully feels like a beast. Dr. Uther taking it relatively slow through those tight, twisty turns of what is turn 8, 9, and 10. He's 10 seconds up on his time, meaning that he's currently in a provisional P11. So it won't be much of an improvement grid-wise, but time-wise it will be an improvement. Dr. Uther last time, I believe, finished last. I'm not too sure. So I think Dr. Uther will want to change that and not finish last this time. But I believe he's on a wheel, and might be a novice to the wheel, actually. Or even new to F1. But he seems to be putting up a good fight. Coming across the line. Ooh, a slide there, and yeah, puts himself into P11 and quickly down back to P12. So that's unfortunate. Fox crossed the line, puts him down to P10, puts him up into P10 actually. Futuristic invalidated his lap, so did Pixel. But I think maybe he didn't. No, I definitely did. Maple in the pits. R3 sets a quickest time with a 1:30 or the 1:34.318. His teammate Matt Shaw is on the mediums, so they're both going to be doing quicker strategies. I should maybe also add that the strategy here, if you start on the softs, would be softs, mediums. But I actually realized myself accidentally I did softs, mediums, and you didn't really lose that much time. The only time I really lost was because of the safety car. But Almighty quickly responds to R3's fastest lap, and it goes with a 1:34.0. So we might be able to see him set a late 1:33 here. Who knows? The Inaudible Gamer comes out and cuts back to let him by. Ooh, maybe not. Oh, he's ooh. It's a big boy lag there. April's on his out lap. We'll go down. I believe Pixel's on lap. Pixel is not on lap. We'll go through with someone who is on the lap. Lamab setting another purple second sector. So he's back where he was. So will this be a late 1:33? If it is a late 1:33, I will be very surprised. He is on a controller, so it might explain why he's quick. No, I'm joking. No hate, don't at me. I say that a lot, but I end up being edited anyways. But Lamab coming across the front lines now. It seems to be a very good lap, very clean, very sticking to the lap. And who's that who's actually spun? That's Maple who spun, and Lamab, it puts in P8. So Maple spun. I don't know if he just broke his front wing. His right end plate's completely gone, so he did a quick old spinala. At the last corner there. Futuristic is not allowed, nor is Pixel. But it feels like they're holding up each other practically. Oh, and that's a bump. That's a bump. Will that be a 5 second, or not 5 second? Will that be a 5 place grid penalty there? That could well be a 5 place grid penalty, but I believe Pixel actually has wing damage from that. I don't know if that's a penalty or not. Hold on. Let's quickly check incidents. Any 5 place grid penalties here? No. It was a light tap, so it wasn't a major collision, but you know, Pixel's been out a few times and has yet to set a proper lap. 4 minutes left, or just over 4 minutes left. Maple not sitting. Oh, he has wing damage. I forgot. He's looping back to the pits. Someone who's on a lap on 5 lap old softs. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but 5 lap old softs. That's when you want to be pitting in the race after 5 laps, honestly. So I hope that for his sake that's not true. But he is on the lap now, and his tires do look relatively fresh. Big changes we'll see in F1 2020 are, well, definitely liveries. Alpha Tauri instead of Toro Rosso will look remarkably different. Instead of all blue, as you can see now, it'll be all white and black. Another team that changed is we have Williams, sorry. Then Mercedes with a bit of red. Red Bull might look the same, but it'll be, hopefully, coming from a Max Verstappen fan here, will be the car that Max Verstappen wins this short F1 20 season coming up in a month's time. My day was great, yes, and thanks for asking. Asking? I don't know how long your comment was, or how long ago your comment was, but if you're still there, hi. He's still in the pits. Futuristic doesn't set a lap. He's on 6th lap old soft, so I don't know what's happening. Maple and that top gray have yet to set a lap, and Pixel as well, but he's on out lap. and Futuristic is just casually driving the 6-lap-old softs. No, you are still there, Yasin. Yasin, you should be saying lap, man. You should be going up for that P1. You're 7/10 away. That's easy. And there you go. I think that's you. Yeah, that is you. Alright, goodbye, Yasin. Number 75. The Inaudible Gamer right in front of him. Alright, so these two will be on a lap later on in this race. John in the Red Bull. How can you not like the Red Bull? It's such a good looking car. Going through the first DRS straight. Oh, we could have used maybe a cheeky little slipstream there from the sister team, but him sweeping left and right would have cost him a bit of time. He breaks at the 100 meter board quite late, but he manages to catch it. Seems to be a relatively good line through there. Good usage of the third gear. Going through the second sector now. Let's see, is it a purple middle sector? No, it isn't. But he is a 10th up, which would put him only... actually, it wouldn't put him anywhere. It will keep him in P6. But sector 3 is usually the sector where you gain or lose all your time. Especially through here an inch earlier. And it can give you a lot of time. These two corners as well are quite difficult to master. Going through the final bunch of corners now. It won't be pole position, but it will be P6. Oh, he was slower than his time actually. And John's retired from El Session. So the Inaudible Gamer next to cross over the line. We'll stay on board with him, as I believe he'll be him, Maple, Yasin, and R10. So be all the contenders, I'd say, for P1, honestly. All pretty quick. Oh, the Gamer taking some good lines there. Maple following him quite quickly. Going through El Bagstrato. Yes, and saying, watch me bottle it. We'll ride on board with him once the Inaudible Gamer finishes his lap time. Almighty in provisional P1. He didn't improve from his time, but I don't think he'll need to improve. As I don't think that's Maple actually. I believe that's Vessel who's behind. It could be either one. I'm gonna quickly check. He's 6/10 up on his time, the Inaudible Gamer. So that will put him in P6 at the moment. I believe that is, that is not Vessel. Vessel has aborted his lap. So P2 is up for grabs. Twilight retires. And Vessel retires. The Inaudible Gamer going through the third sector. Oh, that's a great camera angle there from their Codemasters. Thank you. So the Inaudible Gamer going through the final bunch of corners now. I've seen him since Spain. I know he can do good. Coming across the line here. Oh, this is going to be a mega time. He goes P2 with a 1:34.1. And Maple puts it into P7. And Futuristic going to cross the line now. What's it going to be? It's not going to be a time. But Yasin's going to cross the line. Will he be able to get P1? No. It was 4/10. Oh, he invalidated it, didn't he? R3, I believe, or not, Madshot is the last person to cross the line now. Puts it in to P8, and that is your grid. So the top three, we have Almighty, the Inaudible Gamer, and R3. And then Vessel, Hazy, Yasin, Maple, Madshot, John, Twilight, Fox, the Mob, Max, that top gray, R10, Dr. Uther, Futuristic, and Pixel, who didn't set a lap time alongside Futuristic with 8 lap old soft, so that's interesting. Oh, Yasin, you didn't invalidate, you just spun on the last corner, did you? Oh, that's unfortunate. Because Yasin 6/10, that would have put you into P1. Unfortunately. But hey, it's the race. Just dive bomb in turn 1, don't use your brakes. That's my best piece of advice. I'm joking, don't. So there's your grid. So on the first grid we have Almighty, the Inaudible Gamer, R3, Vessel second grid, Hazy, Yasin on the third, Maple, Mad Shot on the fourth, John, Twilight fifth, Fox Mob on the sixth row, SLR Max on the seventh alongside that top gray, 8th R10, Dr. Uther, and then 9th was, I believe, Someone and Someone, and then Futuristic and Pixel. Going to wait for the formation lap. Alright, so the formation lap is underway. Everyone will want to warm up their tires and rev them out as much as possible. Alright, so look, everyone's starting on the softs except for that top gray, Dr. Uther and Pixel. If you start on the mediums, you'll be wanting to go mediums, mediums, softs, I'd say. Or medium, softs, mediums, if you really want to lose time and waste that medium start, I guess. Oh, oopsies. There you go. I'm not going to do like a real F1, how they turn off all the HUDs, especially top right, bottom right. Alright, so everyone weaving in the back there. We have Red Bull's actually weaving like a maniac. I believe that's John. It is. Oh, R3, yeah, I was about to say there's like a gap there between a P2, P4, and there was a racing point missing, but it's R3, he left and rejoined. So it's going to be a interesting race start. To say the least. Takes out that billboard. Might as well take it out now. Honestly, if I was a race leader, I'd take out all the billboards that were going to be taken out anyways. In real life, they damage your car, but this is F1, so it doesn't matter. I love this camera angle. It's great. Right, so as the bots line up now, not the actual racers. I wonder if that will be a thing in F1 2020. How you'll actually be able to drive the cars onto the grid. That would be cool. That would be cool indeed. But I think this is fine the way it is. Maybe in the pits we'll be able to drive by ourselves. I don't know. I'm happy with the way it is. Right, so the final race of SOR F1 2019 is underway, and I believe R3 isn't going to be in the race, so we might have a restart. That I don't know, but I doubt, as the drivers will rev up now for the final race here at Abu Dhabi. And it's lights out, and away we go, and it seems to be a perfect start there from Almighty. The Inaudible Gamer couldn't really get a good launch, as there's chaos towards the back. I'll go through the back there. Everyone going wide, but rejoining on track. There was almost a 3 wide there. There's a Haas going wide. Oh, there's another Haas that's pushed out wide there, losing the back end multiple times. And there's a two-way collision there in between the Mercedes and Futuristic, the Toro Rosso there. So they both with wing damage. So it's, oh, there's chaos at the back there. What has happened? Someone has sent a dive bomb and set 2 drivers wide. So the 2 Haas drivers don't seem to be doing too good of a start, but it seems to be a little snake formation there. Everyone in their own line, straight on. Going up the field now, I see that Maple, with some good straight line speed, will want to go down the inside of Matchshot, heading into turns 8 and 9. Oh, Matchshot sticks one down the inside there. That was almost a copy-paste of something I've already done before with the same cars, actually, ironically. Maple going side by side, but is actually being put under pressure there by Twilight. almost makes it 3 wide, but they're still side by side heading into this Mickey Mouse section. And I can't exactly see what happened, but it looks like Maple has got the move done heading into Sector 3, moving upfield. Nothing much, so we'll move back down. It seems to be pretty close in between these three. Yeah, okay. It seems to be pretty close in between these 3 drivers as John looks a little bit towards the inside with a cheeky little look. John continues to search as Fox seems to be going wide there, so a lot of dirty air being played in. And also, speaking of dirty air, in F1 2020, that seems to be reduced, as the YouTubers say. It seems like there's a bit of a 4-way battle here almost, and there's already a gap of 2.4 seconds in between the top 5. So the top 5 has absolutely done one, and I can't speak. I just saw a piece of front wing there going up in the air. We'll have to see what exactly that was, but the Mercedes driver of Dr. Uther goes into the pits. I believe he'll want to go on the hards, yeah, and up for a safety car late in, so he'll be able to go on softs. But, ooh, and that's a mistake there from Matchshot, and Twilight sees that as an opportunity, but Matchshot quickly closed the door. But it looks like Matchshot has terrible straight line speed compared to everyone else on the field, so this is definitely where he'll be lacking, but in terms of downforce, it seems to be fine. There's no room's given there as forces his way through. Matchshot does break later, indeed. Oh, he's still there. He still hangs it around the inside, and they're still going side by side, heading into the second DRS straight. But DRS isn't there just yet. But Pixel seems to have gotten the move there on the mob towards the back of the field. And will they run side by side, heading into the Mickey Mouse section, as I like to call it? No, Matchshot definitely gets the move done before the corner has even. Oh, and Twilight completely almost loses the back end there. John almost saw a small opportunity there. So going through back the field, it seems like it's a nice train here from 16th up to. Oh, there's another move there. Pixel was absolutely setting one down the inside of Pixel. And Pixel still around the inside. Lamab almost squished until the death barrier there. So, oh, the late break in there from that top grade almost rams into the back of his teammate there, Lamab. And it seems like Lamab is getting very feisty here on the back of Pixel, but it seems like that has died out for the minute. And I believe that's all the chaos there is to it now. Looking on the mini-map, these guys seem to be very close to each other, the two hatch drivers, and there's been a spin. Oh, that's a Racing Point who's actually spun. That's a virtual safety car. I believe Twilight has completely clipped onto the back of the Racing Point. Oh, and has hit the back of that top gray, and Max gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He just continues straight on and gets a 3-second time penalty. So I didn't watch what happened, but if I kept going, I would have seen what happened. I do apologize. So R3 has left the session. Well, it wasn't him getting spun out anyways, it was someone else. DRS is enabled, and we're going green here in Abu Dhabi. So, oh, Twilight almost losing the back end there. Dr. Uther promoted to P16 after that. Let's look up the field as R10 goes down the inside of Fox, hanging to the Mickey Mouse session. They touch tires, and R10 almost performs a semi-spin. And Fox is not given any. Well, he has given room, to be fair. It was just some hard racing, and they made contact. But going up the field, actually, Vessel seems to be very close to the Inaudible Gamer, as I'm pretty sure someone's going to go down the inside there of that downhill right. Turns out not. Vessel very close to the Inaudible Gamer, and Almighty already 2 seconds ahead of P2, almost. So we'll go back to them on the DRS straight. Let's look towards the back of the field. Seems to be pretty evenly spaced. So we'll stick on board with Vessel. A Inaudible Gamer won't have DRS on this first straight, meaning that Vessel will have the upper hand. But if he does go for the overtake before the end of the straight, the Inaudible Gamer will have DRS on the second DRS straight. Twilight goes for a move on Max there towards the back, but the Inaudible Gamer is essentially forced to watch his position go by, as Yesin might send one down the inside as well as he can, because he has DRS. He goes, breaks late, and they almost touch towards the back, but Yesin thinks differently of it, as they both synchronized, almost lost the back end there. Yasin, we've seen he has good straight line speed, but he's really being tugged at the same pace as the Inaudible Gamer, as Lamab there and Twilight seem to be going at it. So we'll go back towards them. Oh, there's some side-by-side action there. The 2 and the Inaudible Gamer gets a 3-second time penalty, but Mercedes of Max and Futuristic are doing a drag race as they both have DRS. Who is going to break later? It looks like the Toro Rosso is going to break later and completely push SOR Max completely off track, forced to cut the corner. They're still side-by-side heading into Sector 3 after the Mickey Mouse section, and it looks like that should be it, but Futuristic has got another move up his sleeve. And will he break late and send one down the inside heading this downhill? He breaks very late and taps the back of Max, pushing him out wide. And keeps tapping him again and again. Has completely tapped him off the track. So his rear tires are completely cooked now. That's very unfortunate. I'm sure the stewards will look at that later on. Alfa Romeo Fox on the back of the Red Bull of John looks to be feisty as these two go side by side heading into turn 1. Twilight thinks differently and backs off from continuing as they go up the hill. It looks like the medium tires will definitely be the better option now as R10 has spun and hit the wall. That should be a safety car, surely. No, another virtual safety car. We have 2 VSCs for 2 same incidents that should have been a safety car. So it looks like no free pit stop. And Dr. Uther forced to watch in despair as his chances of catching up to the field have none gone. If there's another safety car, I'd say Dr. Uther would want to box on the mediums and go for it. Mad shots left in the session, actually. After his earlier DNF, so we've lost 2 people in the same corner. It is a pretty lethal corner if after turn 1... you've lost the back end, your tires will be at 100%. Also going through that right-hander, your tires do increase in heat. So it allows the Inaudible Gamer to catch up a tiny bit. Going further back down the field, Twilight seems to be close on that top gray. It seems to break mega late there. It's going to have a poor line going through here, but that top gray seems to have not got the best of exits as there's another move here. John and Maple both going into the pits. Oh, he's hit him into the pits. That's his front wing gone from John. That's definitely a front wing change there from John. Late front wing change. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate for him, but I guess that happens as Maple goes out and on the mediums. So as John, but John is a little further back than he wanted, and Max changing his front wing as well. Alright, so the first medium runners have boxed, and the undercut won't really work for those who change their front wing because they're now 5 seconds behind. As Twilight will want to get past that top gray. We've seen Twilight has good straight line speed. He opts to go around the outside, but I think the corner will already start by the time that happens. Looking in the mirrors, doesn't seem. Oh, there's a slight bit of contact there. The stuff should be running out by around now, so that top gray might get a better exit. But by looks of things, doesn't have that powerful straight line speed. As he goes around the outside, heading into the Mickey Mouse section, as I like to call it. He's 4th wide, but he seems to have got the move done. Excellent move there from that top gray. Almost to the back end there. Completely ruins what I said, but goes out wide there, and Twilight does a copy and paste, and that is that solid move there. That's Sergio Perez on Lando Norris. The best move of his career. Pixel getting awkwardly close to the wall there. As there's a move going up here. Oh, there's not a move. It's just Vessel going into the pits. So he's opted to go for the undercut on Yasin and the Inaudible Gamer. That means that the Inaudible Gamer and Yasin will be on fresher mediums though, and fresher softs towards the end if they do opt for that strategy. Or no, mediums, not softs, towards the end. The Inaudible Gamer seems to not be buying the dummies Yasin is sending him, but will go down the inside heading into this corner. Who is going to come out ahead? And it looks like Yasin's going to come out ahead, and will have the DRS on him as well. So that's an OP move. If you're behind him at the DRS activation, well, you're ahead of him afterwards, well, you're really getting DRS, an easy DRS pull. As Twilight once again copy-paste from last lap will get the move done on that top gray at this straight. But that top gray will come back at him at the second DRS straight, unless if he's far away enough to say otherwise. That top gray is roughly the same distance as he was last time, but Twilight cuts the corner, gets a 3-second time penalty, and almost loses the back end there. That's going to allow top gray to get the better exit. DRS, he's put it into overtake. He's definitely going to opt to go for the same move around the outside. Yes, he will. He goes around the outside, heading into the Mickey Mouse section, and almost does a copy-paste of what he did last time. They still touch tires. They're still side-by-side. One gets pushed out wide, and I believe they're still side-by-side hanging. No, they're not side-by-side. That top gray is in front. Ooh, but Twilight going back at him, actually. Hold on. Maybe not. So, that top grade goes out wide, and the Unrivaled Gamer and Almighty Boxing, Yasin is opting to go for the overcut, as a Vessel's being held up massively here by these two. This is not going to help him. He's going to run side by side, heading into this corner. You don't really see too many overtakes, but he's done the overtake, and the Unrivaled Gamer might actually come out in front of Vessel because of it. So, the Unrivaled Gamer coming out now. It's going to be difficult to see. No, but Vessel will be the car in front, but he's getting held up massively by that top gray, and it looks like he's actually got a mega undercut. He's now 4 seconds behind, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Might be going up the quicker we look. The Navigator won't have DRS on anyone, and he's come out 3.7 seconds behind Vessel, rather than before how he was just 1 second. So the undercut definitely is OP here. Pixel on the back of Fox. Will he send one down the inside? No. Vessel getting the move done on that top gray. But it looks like Pixel actually seems to be having good pace. He's in P4 on those mediums. And John's actually left the session, so I don't know what happened there. $20 laps to go in this, I was about to say Russian Grand Prix, but it's not Russian. It's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The mob on fresh shops will want to get the move done on, or he's not fresh, well, they're both on fresh tires. One's just on a fresher compound. Going through second DRS, so he's not close enough. Not close enough at all. There's a move there. The two Mercedes got. Whoa, Futuristic has completely cut that chicane. So that's something else. Yasin still staying out on those tires. There's yellows in sector 3. Is Futuristic been disqualified? It's not Futuristic. Oh, those yellow flags. Oh, that's because he's on by. But Yasin still going out on those softs. 8 laps. That's if he's going softs, mediums for a 1 stop. Don't know what he's doing. Right. Seems to be pretty close here in between Pixel and Fox. Pixel's close, but he's not close enough. Ooh, Fox breaks much later because Pixel has completely dummied him. But Almighty there, who is on Fisher softs, and there's a pit stop in front, really. Maple gets a 3-second time penalty. Pixel seems to be doing good on his 8-lap-old mediums. Definitely not as quick as the fresher compound runners, but it's definitely that. Futuristic on the move, or got the move done on Max. Going further up the field now. Looks like Pixel and Fox are the only two battling out for position as Yasin goes into the pits, so he'll definitely come out quite far behind, but he will be on the fresher compound towards the end of the race. So Maple gets in there, 3-second time penalty, and Pixel is fighting for a P1 here, but they still both have to pit as Almighty actually comes out ahead, and it goes down the inside of 2 people, and the 2 teammates collide, and he's almost spun out. He will have the DRS, and his teammate Fox seems to be blocking him quite severely here, but he's managed to get the double overtake on both Pixel and Fox, heading towards this straight. Fox will be the sitting duck here. He does not have DRS, but he does seem to have good straight line speed. And Pixel will definitely go down the inside of Almighty if he wants to. No, he does not, but he's... Oh, Vessel has completely outbraked himself and almost hits the back of Fox. Gales in Sector 2 is claimed another life of someone else, and that's Futuristic and Max, who's actually hit each other, and Max completely without a front wing almost, and Futuristic still has his front wing perfectly intact. So I have no idea what just happened there. But Max is the biggest loser out of this accident. Going up the field, seems to be quite saucy here in between Vessel and Fox. Because he's being held up massively here by both Fox and Pixel. And will want to get the move done as soon as possible. Because Almighty, who is on one lap pressure mediums, has already done one and is already 3 seconds up the road. Fox boxes this lap, and Pixel continues. So as long as Vessel stays within 1 second towards the back of Pixel, he'll definitely be able to push, I guess. So Yasin in P5 with the freshest mediums of this net P1, but he is far away. He's like 8 seconds behind. That's not something you want to see as Twilight overtake someone in the pits. Vessel will have DRS, but if I were him, I'd stay behind him and allow Pixel maybe to drag me at the second DRS straight. Maybe not. No, he's gonna go for it. And Pixel leaves him the space. And they're still right side by side. Ooh, they touch. And I believe Vessel does not have the DRS. Pixel has none of them have DRS. So they both cross the white line at the exact same time. Vessel moving to the inside. Pixel goes around the outside and cannot make the move stick. As Pixel completely loses the back end there. And once again there. And Vessel now has 3.8 seconds to catch up to Almighty. So in all this, Almighty has lost a lot of positions. But the two sister teams there, Ferrari and Alfa Romeo, are going side by side. And Twilight has slowed down. As, Hazy goes down for a move that is not there. He's completely knocked on the door and said, hey, hello, I'm there. But Hazy on the fresher mediums wants to get past Maple as soon as possible. Passes up goes to Yasin, actually, with a 1:38.2. It's a pretty quick lap on those mediums. This seems to be the action we're getting on the track now. No one seems to be close to each other except for the two Haas drivers who are close. Looks like Hazy and Maple seem to be quite an interesting battle at the moment. Thanks to DRS, he will get the move done, hopefully, for him at least. Max gets a 3-second time penalty. And the two Mercedes drivers are in a net last place, both of them, as Hazy goes down the inside and gets the move done before the corner has even begun. The Maple will have DRS going to the second back straight as he loses the back end there. But Maple already 7/10 behind after one corner. He's going to be pulled along, sure, but it won't be enough to go for a big dive bomb. So that seems to be that. Going towards the back here, Twilight on the back of his sister teammate. Seems to be pretty close as well. But someone we do want to look at is the Navi Gamer and Yasin, who are quickly pulling inches closer towards Vessel and Almighty. But Almighty seems to be the quickest driver on track. Actually, that's a lie. Yasin's the quickest driver on track, but out of these top three, Almighty seems to be extending his gap to P2, while Yasin is closing in on the gap of P2. Or at least I think, as Yasin's taking another quickest lap. So Yasin is the quickest driver on the track at the moment, with the fresher mediums as well, by 3 to 2 laps. Might not sound like much, but in Abu Dhabi, tire wear is everything. Nabu Gamer will have the DRS, but I don't know if he'll be close enough to overtake them. I definitely won't be close enough at the end of this straight, but maybe towards the end, who knows. Yeah, Yasin seems to be closing up ever so slightly on the back of these guys, but Pixel on the freshest mediums of everyone on this track seems to be closing up on P8 and is in a good position considering he just boxed last lap. He started, what was it, he started last actually, I think, and already in the points. So that's a big plus, but P1 is just over a pit stop in front, so I don't expect him to be a contention for P1 in this race, unless there's a safety car. If there's a safety car, that's going to bunch the whole pack up, and it's going to be hectic. Look up the field a bit more. Once again, these two seem to be the closest to anyone else on the track. Fox goes wide. Yasin does not set a quickest lap, but I do believe he is gaining on Yasin. Twilight completely losing the back end there. Will he lose the back end going in through here? No. Luckily his tires aren't overheated that much. Going in through here, it seems like he's sliding. He's actually cut that corner, so that's definitely going to give him a warning. And he's still sliding, exiting those corners. And Pixel is back in the DRS of Twilight. And with that extra traction, DRS, and overtake mode, he should get the move done at the end of this straight, unless if Twilight has anything to say about it. Looks like Twilight will have to see the move done, and we'll try and get a switchback into his second DRS straight. Into his DRS straight. Twilight does have good straight line speed, we've seen that. Will he try and go for a move down the inside? No, he's going to go around the outside of Pixel. He thinks about it, but Pixel quickly blocks that off, and is resulted into Pixel promoted into P8. Unless if Twilight does... Twilight seems to be losing the back end there quite a bit, so his rear tires seem to be slightly overheated as Fox goes wide there up ahead. It's going to cost him a bit of time. A Pixel in a net P7 now, by the looks of things, and we'll definitely be looking on overtaking the pack as quickly as possible. But Twilight seems to be losing the rear a lot, so his 6 lap old mediums, 7 lap I should say, are seem to be dying. That top gray with a 3-second time penalty. He's the last one on the points, or in the points, sorry. As Dr. Uther actually boxed for the mediums 2 laps ago. As a Pixel is 0.002 seconds slower than his previous time. So he's matching his old time of I don't know what. So he has consistent pace by the looks of things. Then again, he is on fresh mediums, and those fresh mediums will die off at around lap 20-ish. But I do believe he'll go on the medium, or on the softs towards the end, so he'll have a quick dash, a mad dash, I should say, towards the end of this race. As he yells in sector something, Twilight, I believe, has finally lost the rear completely. Yeah, he's sliding through these corners. That's going to allow that top gray for maybe a promotion. As Twilight, his rear tires are completely cooked by the looks of things, and he's forced to give the position. Twilight losing the back end there quite a bit. Will he lose the back end there going through here? No. It looks like Pixel is very close to Fox, who's very close to Maple. So Pixel is in a net P6 now, by the look of things. Fox is also has the DRS. Tries to dummy Fox once again into dummy, but it seems to be that's not a move. It's someone who's not AFK, but not here. So Pixel got a poor exit there, and Fox does have DRS as well. So Maple sees these two drivers, and there seems to be yellow flag here, and that's Hazy who's lost the back end there, and Pixel's promoted to P7. So really, Pixel is now in a net top 5 finish. I do believe his front wing's got, yeah, he has a red left or orange left wing. Oh, Pixel has hit the back of Fox ever so slightly. His front wing seems to be fine. Going through, Almighty actually does his final pit stop already onto the mediums, I'd say. So he's going to go for the undercut, and since he's pretty quick, the undercut shouldn't matter now. Now, the only problem is, will he come out in this traffic, in this trio? Because if he does, that's definitely going to cost him a lot of time. No, he's going to come out in front. So Almighty with some clean air is definitely going to be good for him. But I do believe if Vessel boxes this lap, he will be in the dirty air of these three. But Maple and Fox are very close. They're pushing each other through these this quick left and right sequence. That's allowed Pixel to get closer. Going downhill, it doesn't seem like anything is going to happen. But Pixel with the fresher tires and better traction maybe, and seems to have gone for a tighter line there to get better traction. He didn't get the best traction, but he seems to be quicker in the straight. And Fox opts to get the slipstream toe, while Pixel opts for just straight line. Fox doesn't go down the inside. He knows if he goes down the inside, he'll be battling, and that will allow Pixel to get ahead. And they touch, and that's allowed. And Pixel, who's completely smashed into the back, that's a damaged front wing there by not even a lot, but that's damaged enough to suggest that he's going to have to do a pit stop this lap maybe, as Maple concedes the position to Fox. Drives through penalty, severe collision. What on earth has happened there? I'm not too sure. The yellows in sector 2. It seemed like anyone's at fault there. So Pixel, that top great, and there's a safety car. Oh my goodness, Pixel praying to the gods now. I'd say everyone's gonna box in for a fresh set of mediums, and Almighty disgusted now, because well, he's on the, actually no, maybe not disgusted, he should be happy, but Vessel going on the softs towards the end. Oh no. So Almighty here in a bad position by the looks of things. He is ahead, but he is on the freshest mediums, to be fair. But I don't know if the softs... Okay, the softs will make it through those 10 laps, but they will be worn out by quite some much. Like, the softs will only probably do good for 6 laps, and then the remainder, the mediums will be good. The mediums will definitely make it towards the end without a doubt. The softs definitely will be quicker for the first 3-4 laps. Then afterwards, they will die out. So, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen. But Yasin's actually in P1. Yasin didn't box. He's gonna box this lap, I'd say. He should box this lap, I'd say, for these softs. So it's gonna be interesting, because the soft runners, they'll make it towards the end, but the tire wear will be massive. Like they'll be losing the back end. Well, they won't be losing the back end, but they'll definitely be the slower cars than Almighty, who is on fresh mediums. Should easily bring those mediums back home. It'll be interesting to see. Once again, we have another tight end to this race, a late safety car with just 10 laps to go. As I believe Yasin will go into the pits. He won't come out too far, actually. I believe he'll come out maybe behind the Inaudible Gamer, since everyone is slowing down. Oh, Vessel gets a 3-second time penalty, so that's terrible news for him. His chances of winning have now depleted. So going on board with Yasin, let's see. Does he have a penalty? He has 2 warnings. Almighty, does he have a penalty? He has 1 warning. Vessel, we've seen he has a 3-second time penalty. The Inaudible Gamer, another 3-second time penalty. And just shy of a 6-second time penalty. So Almighty might actually win this race. And Yasin, on the freshest softs of everyone, is in P3. He's managed to come out ahead of the Inaudible Gamer. So the Yasin seems to be in a good position now. But he is just one warning shy of a 3-second time penalty. And it is really easy to get time penalties here. So Almighty on track right now. If we were to cross the line, Almighty would be winning this race. If Vessel has a time penalty. But it's gonna, I'd say safety car will be entering lap 21. Definitely not this lap, but maybe next lap. Because, well, safety car is almost about to lap Dr. Uther. So everyone needs to catch up. I don't even think the safety car will go in next lap. Maybe the lap after that. But either way, we'll be entering lap 20-something. Meaning that there will only be 8 laps to overtake. At least for these guys. So everyone's really in a good-ish pit position at this point. I mean, the fresh sophomore's right now, they're not really losing they're not losing any tire wear because, you know, they're going slowly here. Almighty is really just on cold tires, I guess. So it's going to be really exciting, this final couple of laps. So we'll go on board with Almighty. So he's on fresh mediums, sure. But everyone behind him is on fresher softs. And those softs will be able to run to the end. But they will lose a lot of time towards the end. So it's tricky, really. I'm going to stop talking because it's very difficult to predict. So Almighty really right now has just has to hope that the tires, their softs will die out quickly. It's really his only hope, I'd say. Alright, I don't even think safety car will be in this lap. It might be, but not everyone's grouped up, so the two Mercedes boys who had their chance of catching up might actually lose their chance. One's just starting the lap now. Just about. Sector 3 is up on its way, so we'll find out then. Right, will safety car be in this lap, or will they wait one more? If they do wait one more, Almighty is in a good position. Oh, safety car is in this lap. So that means that Almighty right now is... see, entering lap 21, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we have 8 laps. He has 8 laps to hold at least Vessel, or at least Yasin off, because Vessel can't afford to be in front. But Almighty can't afford for that gap to be more than 3 seconds. It's going to be an exciting end and a pretty tense end for these drivers, because all the soft runners will want to overtake each other as soon as possible. And will want to get a move on to try and attack P1. Almighty needs to perfect his exit so that he doesn't lose that much time. It doesn't allow Vessel to gain much time either. So Vessel seems to be very close. And Almighty, so still taking his time. Safety car's in, so they can go whenever they want. Almighty's gone, and he's actually got a good launch. He's already 6/10 clear of P2. But then again, all these racers are ahead as there's already action going in through the back. There's already lots of overtakes. As someone goes down the inside there, that's Pixel, but he cuts the corner and it gets a 3-second time penalty. As Twilight actually goes into the pits. So maybe he's hit someone going up. But, oh, side-by-side action going in through here. You don't really see that much action. Oh, they're completely banging tires. They're completely smashing into each other at this point. They're still side-by-side, so that's allowed Almighty to run away a bit more. Because when will DRS won't be enabled until lap 23 or so. Meaning that if these three battle it out, as they're currently doing. Oh, he's tapped the back of him. Is that a bit of front wing damage? No, it's not. But it's pretty chaotic. If Vessel, or Yasin I should say, already a second behind Almighty. But with those fresh softs, he'll want to use them through the sector 3. He's already under braking. He's made up a 10th. Going through here, I think he's made up another 10th. He has. So he's quicker in sector 3, yes, but those softs ain't gonna last until the end of lap 28. Well, they will, but they'll be the slowest tire. Oh, he's already almost lost the back end there. It's already maybe some sign of a small wear, as he's just within that 1 second gap. So Almighty, actually no, Almighty needs to keep this gap, maintain this gap, and try and extend it if DRS is enabled this up, which won't be the case. Almighty sets a fast up with a 137.8 as there's yellow flags. Sector 3, don't know what happened. Going through the back, no one's close enough to go for a move. As Twilight, what is happening with Twilight today with his losing the rear? I believe he's just trying to warm up his tires. But Yasin is 1.2 seconds behind, so oh, there's chaos at the back here. There's the two Mercedes boys. Oh, that's Dr. Uther, who's completely spun out and is at the wall. Will that cause another safety car? I don't think so. Shouldn't. Maybe just a VSC, but no, he's back on track. It's fine. So Dr. Uther really with some terrible luck today. So Yale's in sector 3. That's Twilight who spun, I believe, entering the pits. I have no idea what Twilight's trying to do here. But Almighty, 1.1 seconds. So this is good. This is very good for Almighty as Twilight retires into the pits. So Almighty is out of the DRS range, but see, he has 7 laps to try and hold, or 6 laps to try and hold off. There will be 5 laps in just a quick second. So it will be difficult to find out what exactly is going to happen, because Yasin is quicker in sector 3, where tire wear and faster tires are more important. But they're not going to last until the end, and Almighty is doing a great job from pole, leading almost every single lap. Undercut, and they're on the mediums now, being able to last. But Yasin sets the quickest lap, so he is the quicker driver on the track now, as DRS is enabled. So Almighty needs to just extend that gap by 0.05 of a second to try and make sure Yasin isn't within the DRS. He's just shy of the DRS as well. That's the worst part. Oh, I believe Almighty's done a little mistake there going through that corner. And yeah, Yasin will have the DRS. So I'm going to do this while I can at the moment. But Yasin currently right now, as I said, is shy of a penalty. And Almighty only has 1 warning. So Yasin, better be careful, because if you do one more mistake or one more cut, that's your penalty. And that's your contention of winning this race out of here. But Vessel does not have the DRS on the back of Yasin. So it's really the top 2 now. And Vessel can only watch. So even if Vessel does get in front, he has the 3-second time penalty, which won't help, but Yasin is gaining much quicker and goes down the inside, heading into the Mickey Mouse section of the touch tires, and Yasin gets a 3-second time penalty. Yasin gets his 3-second time penalty that he feared would happen, and that means Almighty should easily win this race going through the line, as Pixel taps the rear of Maple there just slightly, and these two seem to be very close to each other. But someone who seems to be very close to each other is Pixel, as he will go down the inside of heading into this corner. You don't really see that many overtakes, but he backs away from it. But maybe a bit more of an important battle right now is Yasin. So Yasin needs to get in front of him now and try and push onwards to create a 3-second gap. So does Vessel, actually. But Vessel seems to be losing touch with these guys, even though he was really close. It's quite far now. Let me just look at the warnings. Almighty, did he get a warning from that? No, he did not. Yes, and well, he got a penalty. Yes. So 3 seconds plus 0 seconds equals Almighty is going to win this race. 4 laps to go. 5 laps. Sorry, 5 laps to go. And it's all to play for in these dying laps. I believe Yasin will get the move done at the end of this DRS straight, but Almighty will have the DRS next lap, or not next lap, next straight. Unless if Yasin goes round the outside heading into this corner, no. He will get the switchback of dreams though. Oh, perfect switchback. Nico Rosberg there will be proud, as Almighty now has lost P2 and Vessel is just nowhere in this battle. So it's really just in between Almighty Yasin. Oh, Almighty breaks late, and that will cost him a few tenths there as Yasin gets the optimal line. But that has already been lost now as Yasin takes a poor line through there compared to Almighty. So Almighty just needs to stay within 3 seconds and he wins this race. But by the looks of things, Almighty is the quickest driver on track. At least from what it looks like. See, those softs should be dying around now, to be honest. But Yasin is already almost out of the DRS of Almighty. So Almighty just needs to stay within the DRS, and his chances of winning the race are still on. Because once he's out of the DRS, that's when Yasin will be able to pull away with the fresher compounds. But 6-lap-old softs already with quality tires is pretty difficult to manage. So let's minus 3 laps. So Yasin loses the back end, so minus 3 laps. Yasin won't be able to make it to the end without without feeling anywhere. But Almighty with his medium seems to be doing a good job. He's in the DRS. He's just wanting to get a slight pull. He's in medium. He definitely knows that his job right now is just to stay within the DRS. He breaks later. He breaks much later, actually. Almighty gets a poor line through there. Goes out wide a bit, as does Almighty. But this time he's going to crank it up to high instead of medium. Ooh, it's spicy. No, he's definitely getting the pull that he needs. As Max and Futuristic seem to have gotten the move done. Max, who was looking to be last alongside his teammate, is now back into the points. Good to see, but Pixel seems to have good other ideas now. And there's yellows in Sector 1, Sector 2. That's Dr. Uther, who is spun out. Now there can be safety cars. Lap 25, definitely know that. But Dr. Uther seems to not be having the greatest of races, as these two seem to be very close to each other. And Vessel's managed to get back on the DRS, but do keep in mind Vessel also has a 3-second time penalty. So even if Vessel does overtake him, you need to remain within 3 seconds. Almighty does. So really, the best position right now is Almighty. He's on better tires. The wear isn't as bad. I believe he's also the one with the most ERS. No, it's Yasin actually with the most ERS. But Almighty gets better traction of all corners now, really. As Pixel might actually go down and move. He will definitely be able to overtake him going through that corner. But Almighty with DRS will want to maybe switch it up to high through both of the things, because he definitely want to win the race on track. Winning the race on track is definitely the better feeling. And ooh, Vessel's outbraked himself. Yeah, so as I was saying, winning on track is definitely a much better feeling than winning thanks to penalties. But then again, you have the satisfaction saying, I drove clean, I didn't get any penalties, look at me. Pixel goes for a move on Maple. Maple will try and hang it around, but doesn't manage to quite do it, actually. As the Pixel locks up, but it's difficult to, and he gets a 3-second time penalty because of it. Looks like the top 3 have left the Inaudible Gamer for to eat the dust. But Almighty, with 2 laps left, just needs to stay like this, and he'll be winning this race. The final race of SOR here in F1 2019. Yasin drove a good race, but the 3 seconds definitely did hinder him. I will look at a bit of penalties. So, if Almighty doesn't get another warning... Oh, Almighty is actually one warning shy from a time penalty. that is not good. And Vessel is one warning shy away from getting a penalty as well. So really, Almighty just needs to keep it clean. Just keep it on the track. Don't do anything dumb. As Hazy actually, or not, what the heck? He was very close, but now he's very far. Almighty needs just to stay on track. If he gets a 3-second time penalty now, he needs to finish in front of Yasin. But right now, he's not pushing too much. He just wants to be in the DRS. He just wants to be, getting pulled along and not risk anything. There's no need for risks at this point. You're in a good position. You're going to win. Either way, if Vessel gets in front of you, or if you fall back, in front of Yasin, you're going to win. So please, for your sake, don't push. Just take it nice and easy. You don't need to cut too many lines. That's a really easy place to get a time penalty. So if I were you, I'd stop cutting them. As we're on the penultimate lap here, just really have to pray for Almighty here. He does not want to invalidate his lap, or not invalidate, as Hazy actually is very close to Maple on the mini-map. Maple goes out wide. Allow him to go back. So right, we're going to stay on board with these guys for the final lap, and Almighty almost loses the back end into the wall. So Almighty seems to be in. Yasin loses the back end. He's done a copy paste. His tires are going to be cooked going up through here. So that's allowed Almighty to catch up quite quickly, actually, as there's yellows in sector 1 and 2. Don't know who that is. But Almighty is closer than ever on this straight. He'll definitely be looking for the overtake on the last straight. If you don't go for it now, Almighty, because there's another DRS straight. Overtake him there. Plus, you're not close enough here. And Vessel, what has happened there? He's 3 seconds behind. I have no idea what happened to Vessel. I'm pretty sure he's lost the back end. But going through this corner now, I believe he's not going to be close enough to go for a move. But there's no need to push. You're going to win the race. So going through the final couple of corners now, Spixel gets another 3-second time penalty. Oh, Almighty's going to be disgusted if he gets a 3-second time penalty now. But Yasin, he's drove a great race. He started, what was it, P6, P5, something like that. Maple gets another 3-second time penalty. And he's drove a good race, definitely. He didn't have a good qualifying, but he's managed to finish the race in P1. Vessel gets another 3-second time penalty, so his chances of winning are completely gone. Yasin crosses the line now. He's not going to win this race because all eyes are on Almighty, who wins the final race here at SOR Split 1 F1 2019. And the Inaudible Gamer actually manages to sneak himself onto the podium there. And Vessel drops down to P4, Fox Hazy P5, Fox P6, Pixel P7, Maple P8, Max P9. And to round up your points, we have Lamab, who actually is Max, who rounds up the points. And Lamab finishes P9. John is going to cross the line now. I believe that's not him, it's just his bot. But Futuristic didn't drive the best of races. Going to be brutally honest with him. He's going to be doing donuts for the end. Here we go, some final donuts for just to sign off the ending of F1. Oh, we're not getting a good angle here. Just to sign off the ending of F1 2019, the ending of a new era here in F1 20, or in just Formula 1 here at SOR. Moving on to the next game of SOR F1 2020. So Futuristic is going to continue doing his donuts. I don't know for how long. I believe that was his final bit of donuts. As he'll cross the line now. Hits a bit there. Doesn't cross the line, but the line is almost there. Hits the wall, taps the wall. He can't cross the line. And he's crossed the line. So there you go. That's the final race of SOR 2019. Ruthful has won the championship back in Japan. So it was really an easy victory for him. But your final podium here, your final podium in SOR 2019 and F1 2019 is Almighty. I drove a great race. It was a P1 for everything. You drove a clean race, didn't get that penalty. That dropped Yasin sadly down to P2. And the Inaudible Gamer managed to sneak himself into the podium after all. So thank you all for watching. I've had a great blast here since Spain. Good. It was a great race. It was a fun race. It's great. It was good. It was a great season. It was entertaining. There was a lot of spicy battles and everything. So that's your final standings there. Almighty P1, yes, and P2. The Inaudible to round up your podium. Then Vessel, Hazy, Fox, Pixel, Maple, Lamop, Max, John, Futuristic, and Dr. Uther round up your grid. And Twilight, that top gray R10 match shot, have DNF'd in this race. So thank you all for watching this season, and we'll see you all in the next season in F1 2020. Goodbye.